This is the second webinar of IELTS teaching series. Last webinar was on speaking and listening, how to teach and how to practice IELTS speaking and listening part with your students. And this webinar, we work on IELTS reading skill and writing skill. So as you know, there's a difference between IELTS academic and IELTS general in reading and writing. Listening and speaking exactly the same, but there are differences in reading passage numbers. In the IELTS academic reading test, the number of reading passage in each section is the same for academic exam. I mean, it's section 1, section 2, section 3. There are 3 sections. One shorter article, one longer article, and the third one is the longest, and usually from easy to difficult. But in IELTS general training, section 1 is up to 3 short texts, and section 2, 2 texts, and section 3, 1 long test. Even in the topics, they are different. IELTS academic reading, all texts are a variety of academic subjects or topics such as plants, animals, human biology, astronomy, mathematics, history, psychology, education, arts, language, environment, business, economic, marketing, management, and these topics. In IELTS general training, section 1, which is up to 3 texts, related to everyday life, like travel leaflets, brochures, college brochures, safety procedures, ads, newsletter, and notice boards, something like that. Section 2 related to work or professional training, like job descriptions, work policies, guidelines, manuals. And section 3 is the general, it's a text of general interest, like newspaper, magazine articles, or book extracts, talking about environment, business, culture, history, people, and transportation. In another word, academic reading topics are mostly around academic subjects, general around general subjects like newspaper and magazines. There are different types of questions like multiple choice for both. In general and academic, both. Multiple choice, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given. And short answer questions. For true, false, not given, it's based on fact, but yes, no, not given, it's based on writer's opinion. But basically it means you can find it, okay? You can find it in the text. True, yes. You cannot find it, no, false, or not given. It's nothing about that. Okay. Okay. So short answer questions. There are some questions that according to the text that students need to answer, the number of the words are mentioned. So it's very important to pay attention when you want to answer in how many numbers. 3, for example, or how many words? 3 words and 1 number, or only 2 words, or maybe 4 words. Sentence completion, you have part of the sentence, and according to the text, you need to complete the sentence. And diagram, table, chart, completion, classification, put them in the order, and matching paragraphs. What about the band score? If there's only 1 mistake, the students get band score 9. And band score 7 up to 10 mistakes in academic, they get 7. To 10 mistakes, they can get 7. What is important in reading IELTS is speed of reading. So they have only, students have only 1 hour. That's only 1 hour to read. 3, for example, in academy, 3 passages. So because it's from easy to difficult, it's better 15 minutes for the first one. They divide the time to 15 minutes for the first article, 20 for the second, and 25 minutes for the third. The speed of reading is very important. First, to get the message of the text, gist of the text, so it's good to skim it at first. I mean, I usually recommend to my students just skim it at first to understand what's it about, and write and take notes of the main aim of each paragraph. They can take notes next to each paragraph. As you know, the first sentence of each paragraph called topic sentence, which talk about the main aim or main message of the paragraph. It said the first key operated lock was introduced by the ancient Egyptians around 4,000 years ago. So that's a topic sentence. So you get, okay, this paragraph is talking about, this paragraph is talking about key operated lock. Then there are the yellow part are supportive sentences. It was essentially a large bowl made of wood, and then it talks about different parts of it. So by skimming, students can read just the topic sentence of each paragraph to understand what's this paragraph about. But how to answer to the questions? So it's better to look at the pictures, look at the topic after studying the instructions and understands what should they do. Then look at the topic of the reading and the picture, get the idea and skim it very quickly. Take notes, underline the keywords, take notes for each paragraph for the main message or main aim of each paragraph, or underline the keywords that they can understand or they can remember, help them to remember what's each paragraph about. Then they read the questions very carefully. For example, for short answers, they should know how many words they're permitted to use. So underline the number of the words. Underline the number of the words. And even think of synonyms. Think of any similar words from the question that could be used in the text. That's a fact about IELTS. Even students, we always say students need to paraphrase the question, paraphrase in their writing. But the same happen in the text. I mean, the words that's in the questions, not necessarily you can find it exactly the same word in the text. So I can say 80% there are similar words. So it's important you know the synonyms. To find the answer, you need to scan for the keywords. So study the questions, underline the keywords, then back to the text, scan it. But you don't have time to scan the whole text again. That first skimming, speed up your reading. So you know, actually, just you look at the notes and the keywords, you know which paragraph related to this exercise or which paragraphs related to this question. So you scan for the keywords and then write the answers and you can check it later if you have time. So here is an example. Answer to questions no more than 3 words and or a number. So what's the African rhinoceros compared to? So only 3 words, not more than 3 words. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, but not more. Plus number or a number. Okay? So we need for teaching reading IELTS, we work on different types of the questions so students get familiar with different types of the questions. We need to work on the reading speeds. So we take time and ask the students to read it and then tell you what's it about. Or read it and write the main aim of each paragraph. Okay? So they can practice how to concentrate for an hour on different readings. And number 3, how to scan and find the synonym words in the text. And definitely they need to study for vocabulary, because if they know more lexicons, if they know more words with their synonym, they can understand the text better, different texts better. Active books actually, it started from intro to 4, which is elementary to upper intermediate, a really good book to practice. It's IELTS oriented. They're not IELTS samples, but they're IELTS oriented and good books to improve their reading and reading comprehension. Also, there are many books on IELTS preparation. I put one sample, but there are many books. But pay attention if your student wants to take academic or general, because as we discussed, the type of readings are different. What about IELTS writing? There are 4 main criteria that the students either in task 1 or in task 2 get points. Okay. One is task achievement or task response. In task 1, this criteria is called task achievement, and in task 2, it's called task response. But both of them actually measures how well you have answered the questions. So have you understood the questions? Have you included all necessary information in a letter or in a diagram or in a graph? Have you given your opinion clearly in an essay? Have you supported your opinion? So that's a task achievement or task response. Actually, the examiner once read the whole your writing, just to check if you correctly answer to the task. Good. So I always recommend to my students, read the questions for 1, 2, 3 minutes. 1, 2, 3 minutes. Underline the keywords and circle the task. What you have to do and what is your task. Then number 2, plan for it. Based on the task, you need to plan for it. Number 3, this is the third step, start writing. So in this case, actually, you guarantee that you are on the right track. What is the second is coherence and cohesion. The second criteria is coherence and cohesion, which we call a CC. Refers to how well the reader can understand your writing and how well your writing is organized. Do you have paragraphs? If it's only one paragraph from up to down, you get not more than 5, band score 5. So do you have paragraphs? Does each of your paragraph have a central topic? And is everything in the paragraph connected? You know, in each paragraph, you have only one main idea, then you support it. You cannot put 2 or 3 ideas in one paragraph. No, the topic is sentence is one main idea, then you support it. You need to elaborate, explain, give examples. Okay? And have you used linking words? It shouldn't be simple sentences if you want to get the good band score. You need to use linking words, cohesive devices to connect the word to sentences, okay? And make complex, longer sentences. The third one is grammatical range and accuracy, which refers not just to how many grammatical mistakes you make, which is accuracy, but also to how many different structures you can use, range of grammar. Have you written a mix of simple and complex sentences? Have you used more difficult structures such as conditionals, relative clauses, passive verb forms? And have you used punctuation appropriately? Okay, this goes to accuracy. correct punctuation, correct form of the grammar. Range means like different tenses for past tense, or different relative clauses, or conditionals, or passive. That's range of grammar when you use different structures. And the last, because there are 4, each 25%, the last is lexical resource. Have you used a range of vocabulary? Have you used words appropriately? Have you spelled them correctly? If you answer to all of them, yes, it means you get a good marks. Okay. I want to say something. Range of vocabulary is, different words, but also the range of difficulty is important. If all the words are at intermediate level, okay, then 1 or 2 words are advanced. So it's the writing is not natural, the writing is not natural. And so there's no fluency in the writing. So the level of the words should be not very different. General IELTS task 1 is writing a letter. So in general IELTS, task 1 is writing a letter. Task 2 is the same. In task 1, they're different. So for writing level, for task 1, writing a letter, you have to write at least 150 words. It could be more, but you have only 20 minutes. So I usually recommend no more than 170 because it takes lots of time. And but it's at least 150. And you have only 20 minutes. Totally you have an hour, but task 2 is 250 words. So what you do with this 1 hour? So it's better you put 20 minutes for task 1 and 40 minutes for task 2. Logically, you need more time because you have to write more. Good. What's important in writing letter is it formal letter or informal or semi-formal? So the setting, recipient, solution type is going to be different. For example, in formal letter, you always start it with dear sir, dear master, dear miss. You use longer sentences, formal linkers, formal phrases, and no contractions, usually no phrasal verbs. So it's very formal. Yes, very formal. Even you can use passive voice, of course. In informal letters, shortened sentences, you started like, hi, mom, hi, Jack, okay? Informal linkers, informal phrases, contractions allowed, and even phrasal verbs. You can use lots of phrasal verbs because it's like a written form of your spoken language. So the solution is going to be different. And then after solution, then you have to write the purpose, why you write this letter. Then in next paragraph, you explain, okay? You explain that what happened, okay? What happened or what's the background. In paragraph 3, there are some bullets for to answer. Okay, in the questions there are some bullets to answer. So in paragraph 3, usually you write your suggestion or you write your request, and then you close it. Okay, and then you close it. Let me show you a sample for a minute. Okay, okay, here you can see the sample. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. You're due to start a new job next week, but you will not be able to because you have some problems. So see, you have 3 bullets. Explain your situation. So basically it's why you write this letter. Describe your problem. So what's the background? What's the problem? And number 3 is your request. Tell him or her when you think you can start. So you're in your letter, you have 3 paragraphs. And it said for a job, so it is formal letter. It's formal letter. Then you close it. If you started with the name, you write yours sincerely. If you don't know the name, you said your faithfully, and then you write your complete name, first name and last name, or best regards. So you just close it. Best regards and complete name. But in informal, you just write your first name, okay? Because it's like writing to your friends or
Okay.
colleagues. Yeah.
Ma'am, if I write
Sure, please go ahead.
if I write in a formal letter, yours truly or faithfully,
Yes,
my
yes, that's right. So
all the
they're
3
the
terms.
same.
Thank you.
Sure, they're the
And
same.
in the and is it applicable for semi-formal letters also?
So this what you said, it goes for formal letter.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Those what you
Thank you.
said goes your faithfully or sincerely, best regards. They go for formal because they are formal. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So what about academic? In task 4, there is a graph, table, chart. Here I have it. See, you have line graph, bar chart, pie charts, table charts, process or map. One of these 6, okay, or maybe mix of them, bar and pie. Again, 20 minutes, 150 words. And what you do is you look at the graph and only report what can you see. Okay, no interpretation, just you report. What can you see? And you compare different data. Good. So basically in task 1, you write about 2 or 3 paragraphs because it's only at least 150 words and you have only 20 minutes. In paragraph 1, you paraphrase the topic. So you say, what's this writing about? What are you going to do in this writing? In paragraph 1, paraphrase the topic and task and the highlight of the chart or of the graph. Paragraph 2 and 3 start to compare different data. Good. So here's an example. Which country has the highest level of pollution? No, I want to show you the, oh, okay, here. The table below the exact IELTS question. I wanted to show you the exact IELTS question. The tables below give the distribution of world population in 1950 and 2000, with an estimate of the situation in 2050. So world population 1950, 2050. In how many countries? 6 countries: Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America, North America, and Oceania. Okay. So it said what happened in 1950, 2000, and 2050. So it's past and future. So what's your task? Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparison where relevant. So 2 things, main features and comparison. So what happened is in paragraph 1, you paraphrase the topic. The table compares changes in worldwide population distribution between the 6 key regions from 1950 to 2000 with prediction for the year 2050. You know, it's not the same Here say with an estimate of the situation 2050, for example, but in the sample it said with prediction for the year 2050. So we said that, you know, when you want to paraphrase, maybe you use synonym words, maybe you reorder words, maybe you use different part of speech. Okay. So, and the topic, there's a verb, you change it to the noun. Okay. So you rewrite it, but you use a word as a noun, different part of speech. Or maybe you can make it active to passive or passive to active. There are different ways to paraphrase. Or basically it means you say the same thing, but in your own words. We never copy anything in IELTS. Even in the speaking test, I told you it's better you paraphrase the question. Don't say exactly the same words that you hear in the question while you want to answer. This is for part one, paragraph one. So then you need to mention the main feature. It asks you to mention the main feature, the highlights. Okay, you look at it and you see Africa. You see, the person of Africa is very different. It's very different than the others. Good. And also the Asia is the highest percent. Okay. So you just find these two key highlighted data. Also, you can write the only, here is an example, the only region where the percentage contribution is expected to increase by 2050 is Africa, because it's 20%, 9%, 13%, and 20%. While Europe is expected to have the greatest drop in proportion over the same time span. So it was 22% in Europe, then it gets to 12%, and in 2050 to 7%. The sole continent showing a fluctuation in percentage contribution over the 100-year period is Asia. So 56% in 1950, then 60% in 2000, again 59% in 2050. So not very much, but a little bit different. So there is a fluctuation up, down a bit. What's next is you start to compare different data. So for example, you can compare Africa to Europe, Latin America, North America, Oceania, for example, to another country. And then you say, what about world population in 1950, 2000, or 2050? Good. From a relatively small percentage contribution of 9% in 1950, the people of Africa are forecast to make up a fifth of the total world population by 2050, because it's 20%. So the language is a bit different because the writer wanted to use higher level vocabulary. Good. In task one, at least 150, but here you can find 200 words, which is fine. At least it should be 150. But the thing is, you don't say it seems, I think, so no interpretation. Just you report what you can see. Here, for example, a pie chart. It said the chart below shows the reason why people travel to work by bicycle or by car. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main feature. So again, paragraph one. Paraphrase and the main features. Then you comparison in paragraph 2 and 3. So reason for cycling to work, 30% is health and fitness, and less population, another 30. Reasons for driving to work, 40% say comfort, and 21% distance to work. So these are the main features highlighted to bring up in the introduction. But you need to pay attention. What are the units of measurement? Is it person? Is it number? Is it in numbers in thousands, in million? And what about the time periods? Is it past, future? Because the tense of the verb, it main fixed on the tense of the verb. And what can you learn from the title and labels? So what are they about? What is the most obvious trend? Are there any notable similarities? What are the similarities? Good? Okay, so far, do you have any questions? So here you can see line chart. This is a sample of line chart. 20 minutes on the line graph. Illustrate the amount of spirits consumed from 1981 to 2007 in grams. Margarine, low fat and reduced spread, butter. Summarize the information and report the main features and make comparison. So again, you studied. You can circle the highlights, then start by paraphrasing main features and comparison. This is the process. So what happened? So you look at picture A and B and say what happened in picture A and then what happened in picture B. Oh, here is another example. Mostly you use passive voice because we don't know who does these things. So you have to use passive words. The diagram illustrates the process that is used to manufacture bricks for the building industry. Summarize the information. So you have to start from the first to the last. There are some given words to help you to write better. It's not obligatory, but you can use the words. And this is the example for maps. Summarize the information by selecting or reporting the main features and make comparison. So in 2010 and 1930. So say what happens from 1930 to 2010 and what are the differences. That is for task 1. It could be also 2 different form of task 1 comes together. Okay, so you have pie chart and the table. So basically it's multiple graph. So basically you say what happened, what it shows in pie, and then how related to table, and what happens in what's the differences between data and table. For example, here the pie chart shows the main reason why agricultural land becomes less productive, but the table shows how these causes affect 3 regions of the world during the 1990s. So you have to summarize the information. So say what happened in pie and then in table and how they're related, and you do the comparison. What happened in task 2 for general and academic? It's the same. There's no difference. You have 40 minutes to write at least 250 words and respond to the task. What is important to practice with your student is they understand what's the difference between topic and question. Here's an example. It says all museums, art galleries should be free because they are an important part of the country's culture. How far do you agree with this statement? So basically, what is the topic? It's not the importance of museum and art galleries. Free entrance to museum and art galleries. So that's the thing I was talking about task response. So they have to understand what are the keywords. Here is free entrance. So they have to, I mean, the students have to underline. It's better to underline the keywords or circle the keywords, just to guarantee to be on the right track while planning for it. Then what about the task? It said, how far do you agree with this statement? It means how much do you agree that's a good idea for museums and art galleries to be free for cultural reasons. So when your students wants to write paragraph 1, paraphrase the topic and and write the thesis sentences. The thesis sentences basically means, what's this essay about? So when the reader read the introduction and conclusion, can understand what's the whole listening about. So in introduction, paraphrase the topic and write the thesis students. That's thesis sentences, I'm sorry, thesis sentences. Here said, how far do you agree? I partially agree, I absolutely agree, or I completely disagree. Okay, which one? So what's your position? You know? Then you write to, I'll come to you. Just let me finish this part, I'll come back to you. Then you write two main body paragraphs. So here is said why some people agree, so what some people don't agree. So you said why, if you completely agree, first you write why others say no. So here the reason why some people disagree. Then next paragraph is your position and why you agree. You give the reason, you support your idea, you give example, reason, elaboration, because you need to support the topic sentence. And in conclusion, the very last paragraph, the conclusion. We shouldn't, or your students shouldn't mention anything new in conclusion. Conclusion actually is another form of the introduction. They write what they said, they already said, and close the essay. So in conclusion, nothing new, nothing new. Here's a sample of one paragraph. So here said, I believe the family is one of the most important structure in society. This is the topic sentence. Then you need to support it. It's within the family, the children, why it is very important. Within the family, the children can learn how to get on with other people and how to behave. And these things are important for life in the wider world. The family should also be a stable unit. So support what you said. Okay? I circle here can and should, just to mention when you want to use modal verbs, use indefinite modal verbs. It's just you mentioning your ideas, but not ordering or putting rules. So we never say must. Okay? Can, should, just indefinite modal verb. Here is an example of writing task 2. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Children should always follow their parents' advice. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Write at least 175. Here said 175, but actually you have to write 250. It's not a good example. 250 words. Okay? Here is the practice for the student. That's why it's said. But in real IELTS exam, you have to write 250 words. So basically, the student should underline the keywords. Children always follow parents' advice. Always follow. So always is important, not sometimes. Or good to know about or think about. No, always follow. Agree, disagree. So your students need to plan. So always follow, sometimes follow, never follow. So what do you agree? Always follow, why? The reasons. Not always, why? The reasons. In paragraph 1, paraphrase it. What's this essay about? Your position. So you agree or you disagree or partially agree or depends. Then we write the other idea. Second paragraph, the other idea. If you agree, why some people disagree in second idea paragraph. Third paragraph, the paragraph before the conclusion, your idea. So why you agree, give your reason, give example, and conclusion part, which close the essay. Okay, so I talked about the topic centers and conclusion. and talk about coherence and cohesion. For coherence, that you think about logical order of the paragraphs and transitions, okay? Here are the example of common transition words to improve the coherence, like firstly, first of all, for example, for instance, however, when you want to show contrast. However, on the other hand, in contrast, when you want to mention new ideas, you can say in addition, furthermore, moreover. When you want to start a conclusion, finally, okay? Or to conclude, or in conclusion, all in all, in brief. When you want to show result, therefore, as a result, consequently, thus. So it's good to teach these jargons to your students, and they understand what different words that they can use to improve the coherence and connect and make transition in their writing and connect the sentences. Common IELTS writing task 2 questions are on opinion, advantages, disadvantages, problem and solution, discussions, different views, and 2-part question. It may be opinion and problem and solution. Okay? Here said, for example, there are many types of music in the world today. Why do we need music? Is the traditional music of a country more important, and should it be preserved, or is international music that is heard everywhere nowadays more useful to society? You see, these are different examples. You can find it in IELTS, Cambridge books that we talked last session. So there are sample of the exam. You can easily find different kinds of questions or different samples. What else I want to show you? Here you can see the band score or band description, IELTS band description for task 1. So I talked here, you can study what's the difference between band 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5 for task achievement, for coherence, for lexical resource. Okay, so for example, see, task achievement fully satisfies all the requirement of the task. This is for 9. Covers the requirement of the task, gets 7. Coherence and cohesion for band score 8, it says sequences information and ideas logically. But for 6, it arranges information and ideas coherently, and there is a clear overall progression. Even for lexical resource or grammatical range and accuracy. This is for task 1, and this one is for task 2. This is very easy. Just search for task 2 writing band description, and you can download it. So here, for task achievement, for 7, it said addresses all parts of the task. But in 9, band score 9, it said fully addresses all parts of the task. For coherence and cohesion for 7, band score 7, so logically organizes information and ideas. There's clear progression throughout. But 9, band score 9 uses cohesion in such a way that it attracts no attention. So it's very fluent. Lexical resource for 9 uses wide range of vocabulary and very natural. For 7 uses a sufficient range of vocabulary to allow some flexibility and precision. And grammatical range for 9 uses a wide range of structure with full flexibility and accuracy, and rare minor errors. In 7, uses a variety of complex structure. Produces frequent error-free sentences. So it's good to know what's the difference between band scores for each for each item that they get they get marks on, like task achievement, CC, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. Why they get 8 or why they get 7 or 6 or 5. If they know that, they can, maybe they're very good in lexical resource and grammatical range, but still they have problem on CC, coherence and cohesion. Or maybe they are very good in task response or task achievement, but still they use limited words. When we discuss the descriptor, they can understand it better. Even when you as a teacher correct their writing, you need to mention, okay, based on different criteria, task response, how good they are in it, CC, lexical resource, or grammatical range, which word they need to improve. So basically, you need to give marks based on these 4 criteria. Good. Now it's time to ask your questions, please.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Here on Canvas, go to modules, then come down after midterm, then grammar lessons, reading and writing, TOEFL, and then here is IELTS. See? IELTS, Advanced TESOL. This is a course, actually. This is a module for advanced students. So here, introduction for IELTS, listening. It's a sample for listening test. Then you can see IELTS teaching skill, and here IELTS guide for all teachers. So let me click on IELTS. Teaching academic IELTS. I basically talk about general as well. Oh, here is mention IELTS general training. Yeah, it's active. So what is the course objective? Okay. So you can find it some information about IELTS here on Canvas. Good.
Yes, I can see that here. Yes, I wasn't sure where to find. Okay. How to the center in Spain? So
yeah,
we don't.
no, I know that it's digital. So basically, these 4 criteria works even for other languages. You need to work on the lexical resource. So your students needs to know synonyms of the words, different part of speech. You have to work on different range of grammar and how can they shift from one range to another, one structure to another structure. How can they join the sentences for their writing? What linkers they use? How can they write in formal or informal format? And number 3 is coherence and cohesion in their writing. So there should be some paragraphs, how the topic sentence and how supportive sentences explain about the topic sentence and how the paragraphs are connected. Okay, and definitely task response. So they should understand the topic and task to answer. So that's true in Spanish, you don't have IELTS, but even in that international exam, they need to follow the same criteria to get a good mark.
Yeah, so basically part of the course, so all the courses we offer will cover all the aspects, all the skills
Exactly.
and the writing process. So it doesn't matter whether or not they're going to present the CLA or DEL exam. So the idea is to prepare the students for different levels of proficiency covering all the skills.
Exactly, exactly. Because using the language means or learning the language, all these criteria. So it could be English, it could be Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, whatever. But they need to understand or they need to know how to use this language. To use this language means to learn all aspects of it. Exactly. Good. Thank you very much. That was a very good question.
Yes, but then, okay, so I have an, okay.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas and hope to see you soon.
Okay, thank you so much.